Hey, what's up? It's Rashad. Antonio, bonus episode for Dune Part 2. We talked about Dune ad nauseum. I mean, we really recapped that. I think we did a really good job. So if you haven't seen that video or you haven't seen Dune yet, definitely make sure to watch the movie.
Yeah.
Watch the movie in IMAX first. If you're gonna watch it in IMAX. You get the full experience. It's what the movie was made for. It was made for IMAX. So watch it on the IMAX. Watch the first review.
I plan on going to watch it again up here in the DMV at the Aerospace Center, at the Ubad Hazy Theater, which is basically, yeah, I can't wait. That's
They
my
got one of them just in Raleigh too.
yeah.
I wish the Air and Space Museum in freaking Hampton would show a
Yeah.
movie, but they don't. They be slacking, man.
Yeah, man.
Want to talk about the true villains of the Dune franchise? It's laid out in a way where you would think that the especially after watching, again, no spoilers, again for watching part two, you would think that the villain is Paul Atreides.
Mm-hmm.
No, Paul Atreides, my dear friends, is a victim.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Atreides is a victim.
Mm-hmm.
Our homegirl Shani is a victim.
The Harkonnens.
The Harkonnens are victims as well.
Mm-hmm.
The
Emperor
Fremen.
Emperor Shot. Yeah, he's kind of a victim.
He's
Yeah,
kind of I
kind
feel
of a
like
victim.
he's a victim. He's victim light.
He's
You
a
know what I'm
victim of
saying?
circumstance.
It's good. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But okay, so all these people like this, especially Paul and the Harkonnens, you can easily like label them as villains.
Mm-hmm.
But I need you to understand
Mm-hmm.
the true villains in this franchise was, is, and will always be the Bene Gesserit. By far, if it wasn't for the Bene Gesserit, this universe would look totally different, would operate totally different.
Space witches that aren't Dathomirian.
Yes, the space witches
Mm-hmm.
are the true villains. And I'm gonna be real with you because you rarely see women as villains.
Mm-hmm.
And it's jarring because we're so used to viewing them from this
Nurturing aspect.
nurturing mass,
Mm-hmm.
like this, sort of like chauvinistic point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Woman's supposed to take care of me. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's not and in this universe, that is not the case at all. The Bene Gesserit, for some reason, are out here protecting something greater, and they are protecting that at all costs by
Mm-hmm.
any means necessary. They
Mm-hmm.
said they don't have hope, they got plans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they're like, hey, we're going to make our own Messiah.
Mm-hmm.
And basically they're going to make their own Messiah through eugenics.
Yes, they said we're gonna find the best houses. We're gonna
Mm-hmm.
mix these people together,
Mm-hmm.
and then when the time is right,
Mm-hmm.
y'all gonna swoop in.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all gonna have a super baby, and you
Mm-hmm.
gonna and on top of that, the thing that they haven't touched on again, we
Mm-hmm.
don't. I ain't reading no books in the movie. The fact that they can control the sex of the child that they bear,
Mm-hmm.
that is some supreme
Wow.
witchery if I
Yeah.
ever seen so myself.
What type of witchcraft is this, right?
Yo, like I'm telling you, if you have like they running it, they run everything.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you go back to Dune Part One, when the head Reverend Mother was like, look,
Mm-hmm.
we've already laid the path on Arrakis for you. I hope you follow it. And then to see in part two the path, the legitimate path that they laid, you know what I'm saying? It was I was like, yo, because then you saw it a little bit in part one. It was like, oh yo, yeah, that man cannot be the he's not a savior. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at him.
Mm-hmm.
He's too small to be the Lisangai. Like that's this no way. You know what I'm saying? But then, yeah, you good. But then when they go to part two, and you see how crazy they are for him, and the path that was laid is like solidified, and even just the political goings ons that they have to do to actually get to that point where the people believe. Because I mean, because even though it's religious, it's still kind of like it's like politics. Jessica had to say, look, all right, let me get the poor people first. Get the poor people to believe, and then everybody else is gonna believe. So after the poor people believe, I get the poor people in the South to believe in my son because I need them to believe that he is the Lisan Gaib. Like I need that for this whole plan to work. They did a masterful job. The Bene Gesserit really out here just making babies, having plans. It's crazy because this is weird dichotomy of agency and also just falling in line with the religious sects. It's crazy how both of those things occur, and you have this back and forth with all the other parties involved, like the Fremen. Just got lied to. They said we gave them hope, we gave them something to look forward to, because they've been looking forward to somebody from the outer world coming to what be their savior. So then when Paul comes, he's like actually doing the things that he said he was going to do. It's like, oh snap, this dude is really following all the steps. Then you have somebody like Stilgar, who is essentially John the Baptist. And then John the Baptist is leading the way for the Messiah. The religious parallels this thing really has, and how the Bene Gesserit were able to play everybody against themselves, create this quote unquote holy war. Well, ain't nothing holy about it. And says, look, yo, we're going to have all these bastards fight each other because at the end of the day, we're going to be the ones controlling the spice. Nobody else but really us. And we're going to figure out a way to make the Kwisatz Haderach, and then we can really, truly rule the entire universe. It's crazy.
So, with all that said, I just want to put a disclaimer on this. Granted, me and Rashad have said this multiple times that we haven't read the source material. So,
and I'm not going to read it. So please don't ask.
So, we're just going by what we've seen. What we're seeing is what they've been doing over the last 20, 30 years, something like that. They've actually been doing this for thousands of years, playing around with these families, and what I'm saying, grabbing this here, we're gonna grab a little Harkonnen, we're gonna grab a little Atreides, we're gonna grab a little Emperor Shadaham's family, their Carino, their house Carino, and we're gonna mix some stuff up and ta-da! We're gonna give us our own. We're gonna give us daggone the Kwisatz Haderach or whatever.
Tony, not even that, but like every major religion has a Reverend Mother. Again, conveniently on Arrakis, their Reverend Mother was dying.
Yes, that's the thing. So
like, so did they? So I'm saying, like, did they really lead? I know she was old, but she could have easily had that lady killed. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
It's wild. And once again, people, my disclaimer: I use this because it's what I know. Think of it as like in Game of Thrones, every house has a maester.
Yeah,
has a maester from the Citadel, but except for the Bene Gesserit here, these, their Reverend Mother basically is in charge. And if you look at it now, Jessica, which is Paul's mother, who went rogue from the Bene Gesserit, is like, I'm still to my Bene Gesserit beliefs, but I'm gonna do my own little Bene Gesserit type thing. She's basically, as you were saying, the Messiah figure or whatever. She's making it like, for Christianity wise, like she's Mary. Yes. Paul is Jesus, is Jesus Christ or whatever.
Yeah, like I was saying, Stilgar, John the Baptist.
It's just wow that they did this. And the thing is, they're not even looking at these people and these families as human beings. Go back to, for those who have seen part 2, you see when they go to Gideon Prime, the home world of the Harkonnens, and to go see
run that Feyd-Rautha,
run that Feyd-Rautha, do his thing or whatever. And after he's like basically has a peacock session showing off how great he is, and they root for him. They're like, hey, the Atreides thing ain't really work, but let's go ahead and let's, saying this guy right here is a good candidate. They send another Bene Gesserit to go basically seduce this dude. And then after it was done, what did the head reverend mother, she said, did you collect the specimen? What? Because these Bene Gesserit, they either go one of three ways. They either just become devout Bene Gesserit, where they're doing their little stuff and they're part of their little convent or whatever. The second one is they send some out. Some actually marry these, leaders of the great houses or whatever. And the third one is they still send some out to these houses, but they don't marry them. They become concubines, kind of like how what happened with Paul's mom, Jessica. She wasn't Duke Leto's wife. He loved her and everything, but that wasn't his wife. That was his concubine. They sent her. She knew. They said, hey, you need to go there and become real handsy with this dude to make him fall in love, and you basically have his kids. Make sure that kid is a daughter. And that part is wild, that the Bene Gesserit can choose when they're pregnant what sex that their child could be. And it's a big game for them, because that's what the whole thing was. Paul was supposed to be a girl, and they were trying to make it where Paul as a girl was going to end up marrying a Harkonnen male to produce another child, which probably they felt could have been the Kwisatz Haderach. And looking at it is wild, because that means that if they would have did what they did.
Yeah, say it. Say it.
If Paul would have been Paula, they would have put her with Run That Feyd-Rautha.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been his cousin.
Yep.
That would have been his cousin.
Yeah.
This some, like I said, this the Dune lore predates Game of Thrones, but it's some Game of Thrones type stuff for people who don't know the lore of it, when you putting all this stuff together. And I said in the last episode when we did the review through Cliff Notes, what I found out through Cliff Notes was that, when we found out that Jessica is a Harkonnen, or whatever, because Baron Harkonnen is her father, she didn't know, but guess who did know? The woman that is her mother, who was the head Bene Gesserit. She knew. So this is what we doing? Wow.
Yeah. I mean,
it's some backwoods Alabama.
Not even that, but that's like another play on royal family, like old Brent, old England, you know what I'm saying? Like how they would just, keep it literally in the family, keep the bloodline, pure, I guess. But that whole purity myth, again, the whole like eugenics kind of angle that this thing had kind of took, was like, man, this like, these people are diabolical, all in the name for them to make their savior.
And the thing is, these houses don't even know this. They don't know this.
They have no clue of what the Kwisatz Haderach is. Mm-hmm. They don't have any idea.
These houses are only caring about one thing. They care about the spice, because basically what I've also found out, there is a banking company in Dune called CHOAM. And CHOAM has all this money, and they're the banking company, and then they work with the Spacing Guild, which basically are people who've taken so much spice that they've kind of mutated, and they know how to navigate and fold space to do, to travel across universe. That also works with the Mentats, those basically human computers. In the first, we saw in the first one, the light-skinned black dude that, there was like, how much is the Imperium spending on to make this trip to Paul's the Atreides homeworld? He rolled his eyes at his head and did the calculations in his head. Spice runs everything. Spice extends human life. Spice here. That's another thing. People, some people don't know. There was like, what is that stuff that Baron Harkonnen is always floating in and bathing in and whatever? That's spice. That's like, liquefied spice to, saying do his thing. That's what probably helped him survive that poison gas tooth attack from the first episode, man. But yeah, the Bene Gesserit, that they're worried about trying to create their savior, while everybody else in the Dune universe is like, hey man, you keep that spice, keep that spice rolling along. Shoot, they even use this. The crazy thing is the Fremen even use the spice in their food, because you saw in this episode. Oh, and that was some black stuff right there, by the way, some black foreign type stuff right there. Saw in the movie in part 2 where Paul is eating some food and he's like starts like tweaking a little, and Jessica's like, "Yo, you good?" And he's like, and he looks down and he's like, it's spice in this. He says it's some spice in this or whatever. And visions are coming. And I told you, the pointless Fremen chick that was Shawnee's best friend. What she say? She was like, "Hey, what's wrong, foreigner? You can't handle the spice of the food or whatever. Is it too much for you?" And I just thought that was I just thought that was funny as hell. But yeah, man, the Bene Gesserit, they don't, they're like, yeah, we the spice stuff is cool, but we want to create our savior. We want to create the Kwisatz Haderach.
Yeah,
and they're doing it by any means necessary.
The fact that this person again, Frank Herbert, like really created all of this, and the funny part is the fact that the target audience did not understand the book. They didn't get the book. You know what I'm saying? Because parts 1 and 2 is basically the first book. Mm-hmm. That's why he wrote all the other books, because people were getting the wrong idea. You know what I'm saying? They was like really out here trying to celebrate Paul as like this like super person. Like, nah, he's not that. He's this like Messiah myth. For them was like, nah, like that's not what we're supposed to be. That wasn't the point. You know what I'm saying? He's not the hero. He's just another victim. Mm-hmm. So it's like I really love just how even in the movie, the Bene Gesserit was so instrumental in making this lie. And then because Jessica messed up in part 1 so bad, she knew she had to go through with it, or they would have just killed that lady. You know what I'm saying?
And then also remember too, when the Reverend Mother in part 1 went to Baron Harkonnen, and he said like, and he basically told her like, yeah, all right, we're gonna wipe these Atreides out or whatever. She was cool. She was like, cool, you can do that. I don't want no harm to come to Jessica, and I don't want no harm to come to Paul or whatever. And Harkonnen was like, cool, ain't no harm gonna come to her. And he was like, yeah, ain't no harm come to him. Not by my hands. We gonna drop them motherfuckers off in the out in the Dune Sea, and saying every sandworm for himself. You know what I mean, like that.
Yeah, we gonna survive with the fittest out there. You know what I'm saying? So that whole thing for me, I just really liked how they played that thing, man. It's crazy.
And one last thing too, just how crazy it was too with them, where in the sequel that we just saw, where when that old Bene Gesserit that's with the Fremen, when Jessica was going to replace her and she drank the water of life, she took a drink of the water of life and she started tweaking and stuff like that. And that old Bene Gesserit started sensing her child that was still like a feet. She was like, yo, she pregnant, and then killed over, and then just killed over like that. And so that's why you see like near the end of the movie where that main Reverend Mother was like calling Paul like an abomination, because men aren't supposed to survive from drinking the water of life. And the fact that Jessica, without the other Bene Gesserit, because she was supposed to have a daughter and have that daughter, and she was going to be trained in the way of the Bene Gesserit, saying she was going to be House Atreides but still be trained in the way of the Bene Gesserit. Jessica had a boy, and was still training him in the ways of the Bene Gesserit to be able to use the voice and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, like, when she tried to use the voice on him, and he was like, and he been silence and use that voice, she was, oh, abomination,
Abomination.
abomination, because he ruined all of their plans right now are done. For the most
Basically,
part, are
yeah.
done. They still have their little ace in the hole, I guess you want to say, with run that Fayed Ratha's specimen in that one Bene Gesserit, but we don't know where that's gonna go from this point forward. So yeah, man. I mean, we just gotta wait for this third movie to come up to see how trash the Bene Gesserit are gonna try to redeem this situation, because the next one is based off the second book, which is called Dune Messiah. And
Yes, this is gonna be very,
yeah,
very Paul centric. Like it's gonna be interesting just to see how they they show. Oh, I can't wait to see the other houses. You know what I'm saying? Because
yes,
we've only
yes.
seen like three house, like basically two houses. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we've seen two houses. So we've
Two
seen the
houses, and
Harkonnens, the Atreides, and then of course the acting Imperium
yeah,
Emperor
but we
house
ain't
was the
really we only saw two
right.
people. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
we only
It's
saw two,
just
but their house Carino, but you know what I'm
yeah,
saying,
yeah. I
like that.
can't wait to see like other houses and
Yeah.
how just like the how they fight, like
Yeah.
the like sort of futuristic tech that's kind of
Yeah.
like scaled back
Yeah.
in an interesting way, because like another thing too that really that makes this kind of like a timeless thing,
Mm-hmm.
because they don't use anything that looks new or looks old. It just looks like it belongs to
Mm-hmm.
Dune, and
Mm-hmm.
it's weird and it's different. You know how
Mm-hmm.
like again, analog I have is Star Wars. Then the Star Wars is like it's straight. Everything was looking very 70s and like
Mm-hmm.
early 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they go back around, do like the Mandalorian, so they kind of go back to that era, because that's where what the
Mm-hmm.
look is. With this is just the look. Like the still suits don't look like anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Like the weaponry,
Mm-hmm.
the ornithopters, all the stuff looks very, very
Mm-hmm.
original and like very distinct, and it's
Yeah.
not gonna date. Like this movie is gonna age well.
So here's the thing too. Frank Herbert, there's a whole bunch of books around,
It's like
around
6 or 7 on the joints, right?
so Frank Herbert did 5 books. You know, saying 5 books. The first book is, of course, Dune, which was the first 2 movies were all. The second book was Dune Messiah. Um, the third book was Children of Dune. I believe that one is based more on what happens to Paul's kids or whatever, because he does have a set of twins. Sorry if I'm ruining it for people. And then there's the God Emperor of Dune. That's when some stuff really gets wild. I've heard about what happens in that. I was just like, if they put that into a movie, that is going to be wild. And then you got Heretics of Dune. And then there's one called Chapter House of Dune. I think that one basically um I don't even know what that's about, but that's part of it. That's kind of the last book that he did. After that, all the other Dune books have been basically by his son Brian Herbert, which that goes back into like prequels and stuff like that. But I'm just wondering what's going to happen. Are they going to stop with the third movie, which is Dune Messiah, and are they going to go into the Children of Doom, or are they going to go into that weird shit, which is from what I've been told about God Emperor, I'm saying, the God Emperor of Doom or whatever like that. So yeah, man, I'm really starting to get into the lore of Dune. I kind of see how possibly this book, well, I can say possibly, I can see how this book is the number one sci-fi selling book of all time, and how
Mm-hmm.
people are very true and loyal to this. But man, Bene Gesserit, yo,
Trash.
they on they
Trash.
on that whole they on that whole, I'm trying to think of a good word to say so we don't get flagged. They're on that whole stuff that this gentleman with a weird mustache in Germany was on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I be trying to like even when we do any sort of like, even it's like analysis or we up here
Mm-hmm.
just reviewing stuff and it's like being, informative or entertaining. Like the informative part it can be so glaring. I'm like, y'all don't see what's going on in this. It's like
Mm-hmm.
this is what this is. Even if it's like not really the intent of the thing, like what we
Mm-hmm.
glean from something, like what you glean from a property or whatever, like that matters because even though it may not be like a theme that the author is trying to come up with or the
Mm-hmm.
screenplay or whatever, it still has value because you can generate themes out of whatever you want out of the
Mm-hmm.
thing. You know what I'm saying? But yeah,
Mm-hmm. And these are,
it's
and like I said, these are just our opinions. We just two dudes who enjoy watching movies, enjoy this right here. And we, what I'm saying, this is just, what I'm saying, our opinion of what it is or whatever,
no, but
so
there's some
but
heavy,
heavy.
very heavy themes
Yeah.
in Dune so far, man. But yeah, that's it for this one. We appreciate you guys. We'll be back next week. Shogun episode 4. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Tony. X-Men 97. I can't wait.
Are we gonna do what I talked about possibly doing like later on? That's gonna come in later on. That's gonna come later on. Dream casting or
Yeah.
okay.
It's on the board.
Okay.
It's on the board. Yeah.
Okay.
I got it. I got it. Yeah,
Okay.
we
I
go
didn't know
we go.
when I didn't know
I
when
don't know when either because we just
yeah.
we packed with we packed with
Mm-hmm.
content. So yeah, if we get a little bit of a lull in this, we'll
Mm-hmm.
definitely hit you up with a fan cast for the X-Men. I gotta really think about that
Yeah, I
and
do.
really research some actors and actresses. But yeah, that and then of course at the end of the month, probably the most fun we're gonna have at the movies, Godzilla, Kong New Empire. That's gonna be so fun. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but that's it for this one, man. We appreciate you guys. Follow us on all the stuff: IG, TikTok, FB. If you are nasty, of course, YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Of
Yeah.
course, YouTube. But yeah, that's it for this time. Peace.
Appreciate y'all.